Okay, let's go on. The next system that very similar to DSS is EIS. EIS is actually not targeting on all levels of people in an organization, but it target on the top management people, or we call the CEO only, basically, and that's why it say Executive Information System。DSS 咧就頭先咧係基本上所有層面嘅機構嘅人咧都係可以用嘅，不過咧高層會用得多啲。但係由佢再製造出嚟嘅另外一個軟件咧，行政人士或者行政人員資訊管理系統 EIS 咧，就真係專貨咧公司入邊咧最 top 嗰幾個人嘅啫，可能嗰個人叫 CEO， 即係行政總裁。Right? And that's why EIS is a branch of DSS, remember? Now, because those kind of people normally would have to do a lot of things in a day, so the system will be further simplified, right? Simplicity is the key of that kind of system. Interactive is the default, okay? Easy access. So, the essence of EIS is a further simplification of DSS, basically. DSS 咧係複雜嘅，因為入邊咧好多咧系統嘅運算、系統方程嘅運算，而嗰啲一間公司入邊頭嗰幾個即係管理嘅人咧，多數咧都冇心機去到了解呢啲咁嘅事濕碎嘅，佢覺得好濕碎嘅事啊。所以咧呢個 EIS 如果製造出嚟咧，佢會比 DSS 更加簡單。OK， 簡單咧就係佢嘅重心嚟嘅，簡單。OK， 同埋咧互動啦，當然有互動嘅基礎嚟嘅。Now, the system that made out of DSS called EIS actually features in two things, right? Number one, it can always allow that kind of important person and company to look at things in a detailed manner that we call it the drill down features. 第一件事佢哋會做咧，就係佢俾嗰啲叫高層嘅同事咧，就係睇到一盤大嘅數之後咧，好快就睇到啲細嘅 breakdown 細嘅數，我哋叫做 drill down 嘅 features。Now, if you see the word drill down, you probably know that DSS therefore also involve a lot of data warehouse because drill down, drill up is actually provided by data warehouse。呢嚿嘢話俾你聽咧，佢係用咗 data warehouse 先至做到嘅，如果唔係做唔到啦。Another important features of EIS basically is to give them a digital dashboard. What is the digital dashboard? What is a dashboard actually? A dashboard is actually a blank area, all right? But it's now the blank area put in a digital manner, so there's a dashboard. In human terms, a digital dashboard, a dashboard is actually a piece of paper, a white paper, and you can put whatever you like there. Full stop. 其實咧 ，dashboard 呢個字咧就好似好威咁啦，即係一個空間。嗰個空間咧放咗上個電子平台度，咁啊叫電子空間。咁啊做乜鬼？其實即係咩嚟嘅咧？即係簡單啲講，其實即係張白紙咯。你俾張白紙個老細，係啊，個老細係要張白紙嘅啫，就係咁樣啦。They just need a piece of paper, and then they would drop down anything they find important over there。跟住咧，佢哋咧就將嗰啲佢覺得好緊要嘅掟喺箱嗰度，佢自己分析咯。係啊 ，You never be able to know the mind of the boss, right? But the boss needs a paper to help organize his or her own mind. Simply put, it's like that. And that's why if you take a look at digital dashboard definition later here, you take a look at that, you're going to find out this is nothing more than a piece of electronic paper. 其實呢嚿嘢咧就乜嘢都唔係，係一張咧電子嘅紙嘅啫。因為你睇下個解釋嘅啫 ，digital dashboards is integrate information of multiple sources presented in a unified, understandable format, chart and graphics。講咁多嘢即係做乜啫？即係有張白紙喺度擠乜嘢上去都得咯。不過我界面就係一張紙咁樣，即係 unified， 即係統一嘅。明白係邊啦？係用緊嗰個人明白咯，你唔明嘅通常都，因為你畫緊嘅公仔，譬如你自己喺度組織緊啲 idea 嗰陣時，你有張白紙，人哋側邊嗰個都唔知你喺度搞乜㗎。OK， 一樣咁嘅意思。OK， 咁啊擠啲圖啊，擠啲 graph 入邊啊 ，that looks something like that， 可以可能係咁嘅樣啦，即係放晒喺上邊啦。Right? If you have taken the Hong Kong DSC examination, I think they have a paper called Practical Skill. It's something like that. They have a piece of paper, a lot of information. You just put something over there in your say prescribed context here. That's a digital dashboard. They can do it fast, right? 咁啊做得好快啦 ，and they can also give a snapshot of every current data。咁佢哋可以好快咁做完啦 ，up to the minute，同埋咧可以將現時最新嘅數據反映到出嚟。 In this way, the decision maker can see the trends of the problem and make decision out of it。咁因為佢快啊嘛，可以將啲嘢擠晒埋一齊，咁你就可以好快睇到咧事件嘅變化啦，跟住你咪作出決定咯。Okay， so that's digital dashboard. And remember, the key for EIS is always like the ease of use, right? Ease of use, and interface is what they like basically. So if you understand this one, you got to find out EIS actually is nothing. It's actually not very much different from DSS in a way that it's only simplify things a little bit. 所以你見到咧 EIS 其實咧同 DSS 係好似嘅，基本上佢就係多咗啲即係簡化嘅功能。Now for the big boss, they need that basically is to find the company critical success factors. The term critical success factor actually is a management term in operation management. Is saying that, okay, when you have to manage a big task there, what is the most critical thing and the most important thing you have to do first? That's why they call it the critical success factor, CSF. CSF 咧係一個咧 management science 或者係管理叫做叫做操作管理啊呢個學科咩 operation management 入邊咧成日都用嘅字係 CSF。即係如果有一大堆嘢好複雜要你處理咧，究竟我哋要做邊樣嘢先 ？OK？ 咁呢樣嘢，咁呢個咧都困難嘅嚇，佢咪有5科要讀，咁你讀邊科先咧？都係一個 critical success factor。我讀完嗰科之後，我多啲信心讀第2科嚇。咁你要揾翻你自己嘅 CSF 嘅基本上。咁機構嘅處理都係一樣，佢哋都有佢哋嘅 CSF 嘅基本上。記住啦嚇。Now, and ESF can help you to spot the trend, forecast, right, and analysis there. Remember, once you be able to figure out the CSF. Then you have a better way to handle the problems in an effective manner. 咁揾到個 CSF 咧，咁你就會知道你去可以用一啲少啲嘅時間咧，有效啲嘅方法去處理嘅問題。嗱 CSF 咧係有數計嘅，咁佢嘅數學係咩咧？係你而家學緊嘅 expected values. They would assign every task with a weight. This is actually weighted means. And then they would calculate, and then you have a sum in the end. And based on that index, you can decide which task you do first. That's actually the mechanism of CSF. If you study management science, you also learn something like that. 如果你讀 management science 咧，你都會讀到呢嚿咁嘅嘢嘅。Okay. And right. So digital dashboard, I just explained. And which company providing digital dashboard and used worldwide is Microsoft. Actually, it's very famous called SharePoint. Now, EIS, therefore, you can see it is somewhat appear optional to people, isn't it? 咁 EIS 你而家了解咗佢啦，其實即係冇乜特別啫，DSS 嘅簡化版。咁你見到咧，其實所有咧佢嘅存在或者不存在咧，其實冇乜所謂啊。但係佢哋都會存在喎 ，but they will still exist in the company. Why would that be the case? Let's take a look at. Now, this is very funny. This book tells you that okay, EIS is actually somewhat optional, and therefore the CEO, the smarter person in the company, knows actually it. But still, we see a lot of listed companies use it. They provide you with a reason why. Reason number 1, let's take a look at, is to, okay, they claim that they can increase the manager productivity. In that case, the manager is the CEO. Okay, let's take that down first. Number 2, convert info to other format. All right, let's take that down also. Okay, spot trend and report. Okay, exceptions. What do you think about that? CEO 咧係好醒目嘅人嚟㗎，如果唔係都做唔到一間公司咧最 top 嗰個人啦，係咪？咁你用啲咁嘅系統咧，咁佢咧就你覺得佢要唔要咧？佢要又得，唔要又得嘅基本上。但係我哋都會要喎，但係喺好多嘅我哋叫做 listed 嘅 publicly listed 嘅公司都會有嘅。點解咧？咁佢又整嚿嘢出嚟咧，咁人哋又知道可有可無嘅，咁你就要俾啲理由點解你要咁做啦。如果唔係就唔係幾好啦。即係我點解要學APA 啊？我點解要學Excel 都有啲理由㗎嘛，係咪？咁係冇理由㗎嘛，咁人哋會好古怪件事。OK， 咁佢俾啲理由都好古怪嘅喎。第一個咧就係要增加嘅 CEO 嘅生產力喎，係咪咧？咁你諗下。第二個理由咧仲奇怪喎，要將啲資訊咧變成唔同嘅 format 喎。咦，幾得意喎！第三要睇下啲趨勢喎。哦，趨勢。嗱，呢3個理由咧都係俾出嚟嘅。 咁實質上咧點解會俾啲理由咧？因為咧 CEO 咧成日都係咧喺個機構 ，CEO is always the person nobody know what he's doing or her doing. So the stockholder is very uneasy, right? Worry about whether CEO is really kind of doing something for his or her benefit or for the whole company benefit. And that's why if I have a system to monitor that person, that would be nice. And that's why this is actually saying I'm using the system to keep track of the working of the CEO so that I can monitor him better. 你唔信人啊，即係簡單啲講係咪啊？ CEO 咧其實咧做乜鬼啊？成間公司佢最大㗎嘛，咁邊個管佢啫？冇人管佢㗎，佢做乜都得㗎，好 free 㗎，基本上。咁但係咁啲股東又覺得好唔安心咯，哇！呢條友究竟係咪真係幫緊嗰間公司？但係佢成日做緊呢啲嘢嚟幫佢自己咧，哇！你好驚呢件事。咁啲股東咧通常咧就會整一個系統咧嚟到 keep track 住呢個 CEO 嘅。咁呢嚿嘢就係咁嘅意思。但係你咁講咧，人哋就好唔高興啊嘛！你咁樣話人哋，即係唔信我啦。咁唔得，我哋話我幫你增加生產力嚇。You see, that's the way they frame it. 第二、第三個 point 咧 ，the second and the third point basically is actually something rubbish things. Because if you just give one reason, that's not very convincing, and that's why the two supporting reasons kind of say that okay, all right, it makes the reason much more legitimate. It's rather political here, as you see. 咁就係一個 point 咧，人哋佢就知道你喺度想 keep track 人哋，咁啊唔好睇啦。所以咧，第二、第三個 point 有啲政治性加埋落去。我個系統咧幫你咧將啲嘢咧變咗另外一個 format 啊，變咗 format 咁緊要嘅咩？唔知喎，不過加埋落去啦，好似好睇啲啦。又幫你睇下啲 trend 喎，哇！睇 trend 啊，係咪 CEO 睇嘅咧？可能唔係喎，喺下面嗰個睇嘅。OK， 原來佢唔使睇嘅。So you see, right? This is actually not a very wholesome reason as you can come up with the conclusion after you see that page here. 呢啲成度都睇到唔健康啦！你一開始你唔信人，咁咪搞一大堆理由之後話要睇住人即係有啲似咧，譬如你阿爸阿媽唔信你，跟住而家喺你間房度整個 camera， 咁你點啊？咁你梗係唔高興啦。Yeah, you're right, and that's why the CEO is not very happy. All right, so there's always failure in EIS making.EIS 咧係間機構做出嚟咧，好多機構咧都失敗嘅。OK， 因為你 CEO 都知你想點啦，你即係想睇我做咩啫。OK，and it's listed out some of the factors, right? Why EIS is failing, and you see that a lot of the things here basically related to the CEO or CFO himself or herself. 所以你見到咧就好多 factors 㗎，一間你見到啊，頭嗰紮咧都係關於咧呢個人咧。基本上唔想你俾唔想你及住佢，所以咧佢就俾好多理由㗎，呢啲好 personal 㗎，人性嘅理由㗎。例如話，these organizations don't have that culture， 佢都唔係咁樣有呢啲文化去做呢啲嘢嘅。佢哋講，there's a lot of human resistance, organization resistance that the people not liking it, and the work that CEO do basically is not project, so project unimportant. I don't want to be that effective. Okay, because we are talking about quality of work, not the quantity. That's what they are saying. 嗱，呢啲唔緊要啊！我哋 CEO 嗰啲人咧，我哋呢個 level 啲人唔係做幾多嘢嘅，係究竟做咗啲乜嘢嘢啲質素。我同嗰個老細傾偈咧，係有啲特別嘅 relationship building 喺度，可能咁啊嘛。OK， and interest, right? We don't have an interest on all those kind of trend things. My style is not that. 哇！呢個勁誇張啊！我根本就唔係咁樣做嘢嘅，你攞個系統嚟我都唔會用㗎啦，幾咁嘅意思啊 ？The nature of my work is not that kind of things that computer want me to。即係佢咧成日話我哋做嗰啲嘢其實唔係個電腦唔可以幫我做到嘅好多嘢。即係好多嘢咧，你見到咧都係一啲佢自己本身嘅風格咧，係唔需要電腦嘅。話俾你知嗱 ，all system made because someone requested。But if the person that you're supposed to him or her using it is not willing to use, you will never be able to build a system he or she will use. Correct? Because you'll never be able to figure out what requirement you should do to make your system out there. 如果咧你要幫人哋整一啲工具嗰條友咧成日都唔話俾你知佢究竟要啲乜咧，你永遠唔會整一個咧佢啱心水嘅工具喎。Now out of this reason here, and therefore.You see, the system would have all those problems. Requirements cannot be defined clear. 梗係唔知個 requirement 啦，因為你想做俾佢做個系統俾佢嗰個人都唔話個 requirement， 你知你永遠都唔會估中嘅。OK， 咁合理啦，係咪 and the system never meets the objectives。OK， 咁我又個系統又永遠達唔到目標咯，因為嗰個人個目標永遠你唔知，咁你達咩鬼目標咧？永遠都唔知個目標喺邊，係咪 ？And the objective is not linked to the company success factors。咁啊，如果實質啲講，個系統又唔會幫間公司達到咩好處嘅。And the project cost is too high, not justified。OK， 跟住你發覺哇，呢個 project 咁貴嘅，哇個 system is so complicated， 個 system 咧又咁鬼複雜。OK， 咁點啊？最後搞到咧，幫你做系統嗰人咧都唔想同你做啦。The vendor discontinue because they can never fulfill what they're supposed to do. And in the end, of course, the EIS will fail. 所以咧，你見到啊因為呢啲咁樣嘅理由咧，就搞出咧呢啲系統成日都會失敗嘅。事關咧，其實個源頭咧係這個 CEO 咧，或者 CFO 或者 CIO 咧係不想用這個系統，咁啊搞陣咧，咁就跟住咧佢就唔會令到呢個系統建造成功。咁通常都係咁啦，你哋見到個問題就係咁啦。So the technical problem is actually caused by the human that doesn't want the system actually helping him or her. In case a company really kind of make an EIS， 萬一間公司真係做到個 EIS 出嚟咧 ，alright, what would the EIS look like? Alright, EIS would actually have 3 components. So we still talk about the ultimate form of EIS that they have. 咁佢萬一真係做咗隻 EIS 出嚟咧，咁 EIS 其實係點嘅咧？ Now, because they have a lot of graphics there, so they will have a runtime modules, right, to let the system run stable. And the EIS would also get data in, so they will have an administrative module to get the data in, and also to configure everything on a monitor or a dashboard that looks good. That's why they have a builder module. 因為咧呢個系統咧有好多 simplification 咧，有好多即係簡化嘅嘢啦。咁變咗咧，佢有個 builder model 咧。去到整佢啲圖像嘅，咁咧佢又冇 data 嘅喎，所以佢有個 administrative model 咧去攞 data 啦。咁你搞咁多圖像咧，個系統會唔穩定嘅。你打機都知啦，如果佢好多圖像，你要驚勁啲嘅 graphical card 㗎嘛。所以有個 runtime module 咧令到佢穩定啲嘅，要用勁啲嘅譬如視像卡咁嗰啲嘢啦。個 runtime module 通常都係咁。OK， now not all EIS would have data. Some of them, right? Some of them have, right? If they have data like that kind of EIS will be much more stable. 唔係所有 EIS 都有 data， 大部分 data 咧都係由 DSS 抽過嚟嘅。咁如果佢係有 data 嘅咧，咁佢就會比較穩陣啲嘅，通常都。Now, what EIS can do is actually nothing special as compared to DSS because what you see in DSS is also seen in EIS there, which include what? You can see exception, ranking, comparing, trends, right? Things like that. 其實喺 DSS 見到嘅所有嘢咧 ，EIS 基本上都做晒嘅。不過咧，佢 highlight 咗幾樣啦，譬如因為佢做 critical success factor， 所以會睇到啲例外嘅情況啊嘛，因為叫處理啲中位值，又會睇到啲排序啦、比較同埋啲 trends， 主要係呢3樣嘢。Now the world that provide EIS producer basically the most famous company is SaaS, and that's why if you go and study operation management in either UST or CTU. They need students study SaaS there because SaaS not normally used to build EIS。SAS 呢間公司咧，主要係做呢個 EIS 嘅呢個世界啊。如果你喺科大或者喺城大度讀呢個 management science 或者 operation management 咧，佢哋咧都要讀 SaaS 嘅產品嘅，通常都。Now that's basically all we see on DSS and EIS。咁我哋咧 DSS 同 EIS 咧就完啦。Now this is scientific management. Remember?Following what Frederick Taylor is saying in 1960 something， 呢啲其實就係 Frederick Taylor 喺1960幾年講嗰啲嘢，變成咗一個產品喺1980幾年代出現嘅東西。咁啊，你啲呢啲好鬼 old school 啊，但係有好多人都仲用緊喺美國，尤其是 OK。Now the newer trend to analyze data, whether you are in the lower management or middle management or upper management, is to see data just like we're seeing a map. Alright? If this is the case, we have.Geographic information system， 我哋成日咧想了解數據㗎嚇。We try to make number make more sense to us. The first way doing that, we make use of Excel to draw some figure out, so that we have more understanding of numbers. Remember, nobody knows number unless they become a shape. 我哋最簡單令到我哋明白數字，我哋冇人識數字。就算我話俾你聽，我讀數據分析嘅 ，OK， 但係咧。我其實都唔識數字嘅喎，咁我點樣先識數字咧？我要將佢變成一個形狀。So graphing charting is important. but it's already old school. Now we want to say if we have some numbers here, can we make it as a thing, as an object, so that you have more sense out of it, you can feel more about it. So how do we sense our world? We sense our world use geography. So this time we borrow the geography concept of landscape and use that kind of thinking to analyze something we have in company, and that's why we have GIS here. 咁我哋而家咧就諗下啦，啲人開始諗啦，不如我哋咧將我哋啲數據變成咗一個立體。咁呢個世界有乜嘢學科處理立體係最叻嘅咧？就係地理咯。地理會將所有有啲山啊、啲河、啲面貌咧，呢啲咁樣嘅諗法。而家我哋將佢套落啲數據，我哋現有嘅數據嚟，睇下可以變成咗啲咩形狀，然後我哋透過喺地理嘅諗法咧，會唔會有多啲嘅即係睇法可以揾到出嚟？就係咧地理資訊系統我哋見到嘅，所以地理資訊系統唔係淨係地理嘅喎，原來咧係將一啲我哋叫做空間 data 啦 ，spatial and non-spatial data they combine into something called object, geographical objects. So you can feel that numbers better. 做咁多事咧都係想你咧感覺個數字比較實在啲，因為數字本身係唔實在㗎嚇，你變咗一嚿嘢咁就實在好多啦。OK. So they will use something like points, line, areas to do it. Now, the points, line, area basically is something we use to describe a geographical object, but now that may represent your company, your line of company, and your competitors. So there will be some cluster here, things like that. And then you make use of the contour map technique that you learn in geography to analyze your company data. 咁咧，你又可以將間公司咧，譬如變成咗一個單位啦，跟住咧，你一組嘅公司，譬如有集團嘅，咁啊變咗做一啲線啦，可能一大堆公司同一類型嘅，咁整埋一齊，變咗一個領域咁啦。咁啊將呢啲咁嘅數據咧，就變咗好似啲地貌咁啦，然後用地貌嘅方法咧去了解而家你間公司發生咩事講。有啲科幻 feel 㗎嚇，即係好似啲星球大戰，其實某程度上講緊呢件事What Star Wars before, basically they are using geographical information system to analyze the whole world, the whole universe, right? Things like that. So GIS, the first step is we build a better understanding of the world first. So Google is doing something like that. Now, Google Map is not only working on a real geographical things. The learning of the geographical thing basically later will be used to analyze something non-spatial as well. Google Map 咧就唔係淨係咧即係睇呢啲地貌嘅。呢啲地貌咧睇 Google Map 做得好之後咧，佢會借呢啲咁嘅分析方法咧嚟睇公司嘅資料嘅，咁變咗咧佢可以好似地貌一樣咁樣分析嘅。And that provide a user-friendly interface。咁我哋中意咁睇嘅喎，因為我哋已經熟悉地理嘅，基本上你就算咧係唔叻地理咧，你都會識得睇下圖畫咁樣知道，你會知道呢度喺邊度，嗰個喺邊度，會去嚟去去咁樣。我哋會中意睇啲地理嘅嘢嘅。咁我哋咧會透過中意睇地理呢啲咁樣嘅或者圖畫嘅嘢咧。了解到成間公司究竟發生咩事。The area using this one is still in a testing phase, so you see a lot of them will be actually in the government or we call it a capital-intensive industry, except that some of them will be related to logistics or transportation. 嗱，因為呢件嘢咧仲係喺試驗階段啊，所以咧通常都係啲政府啊或者啲資金好密集嘅公司先有錢做嘅。譬如咧政府會嚟做好多嘢啦，你見到好多 planning 都要開始用啲 GIS 嚟試啦，同埋咧啲財務公司啦 insurance 呢啲，佢哋有好多資金㗎嘛，咁佢哋咧會願意試用啲新嘅方法去睇下啲 data， 可能咧去用呢啲方法去到了解啲 customer。咁除此之外咧，有啲真係同地理有關嘅項目咧，都會用下 GIS 嘅，譬如房地產啦、交通啦，佢哋會用嘅。Now, so this is GIS. So therefore, what can you conclude GIS? That GIS is the new trend of data looking. It's a new trend of analysis in the world. 所以 GIS 係即係我哋下一個年代，即係你嘅年代咧，即係睇數據嘅一個方法啦嚇。可能唔係統計學啦，統計已經 out 地啦，已經開始因為統計成日發展咗200年，基本上冇乜好講㗎啦。所以而家開始我哋睇下將統計變成一啲立體去到即係了解呢個世界啦。The last system that we want to talk about, sometimes we call it GSS. GSS. 我哋有時叫呢個做 GSS. GSS is Group Support System. Alright? Group 一組啊，群組支援軟件。Don't get scared by that term GSS. Alright, this means collaboration， 即係話協作軟件啦。你冇用過 GSS 㗎啦，肯定你有。如果你有用過 WhatsApp 或者你有用過嗰隻叫 Signal 啦，或者 Telegram 咧，你已經用過 GSS 㗎啦。GSS 其實即係一堆人都好啊，透過互相交流咧，跟住咧就決定一啲嘢。OK， 咁正規啲或者係比較即係正經啲嘅名就叫協作系統啦，所以叫做GSS. Another name for that is collaboration system. Collaboration. We do collaboration here, then we can design on how to make things go about right in the future, and that's why it's a very good way of designing future. So instead of relying on a crystal ball that you just made in DSS, now you rely on a bunch of people discussion, and then you decide on what direction to work on. 好啦，今次咧就唔係透過 DSS 變成一個好似水晶球咁樣，哎呀水晶球咁我而家點做咧？唔係咁，係透過一堆人討論究竟未來應該點做，我應唔應該發展新嘅 business 咧去嗰度地方做嘢咧，一齊傾，呢個就係 collaboration system 嘅諗法。咁啲人都相信咧另外一個諗法嚟嘅，其實就係發覺即係集體嘅智慧咧應該會勝過電腦嘅。Yeah, so this system actually has no brain. Right? They are just a platform. 咁呢個系統咧係基本上冇腦袋嘅，只係一個平台啫。It's provide you with a platform that people can discuss things, alright, full-heartedly。即係咧喺呢個地方咧，咁啲人咧就係全程投入咁樣去到即係傾偈啦，即係提供意見啦。There's no such thing as, wow, this person is actually giving something really nonsense。即係唔會話佢講嘢好廢嘅嘢。好廢嘅嘢，可能自己你要諗啲好正嘅嘢嘛。Remember, right? Something really, really terrible may stimulate you to think about something really brilliant. So there's no such thing as really something called rubbish idea, because the rubbish idea sometimes can stimulate very brilliant idea there. The most important thing is discussion, interaction with the people, all right? So that you can unveil a better development result. The good point for that for collaboration is you can communicate and you can let the team feel better, and then you can increase productivity and effectiveness higher. How can they do that? Once you interact with people, you'll be able to have a shortcut of knowing what the problem really is, right? Especially the people from different level in an organization. 你集埋啲人一齊咧，無論係喺前線、中層同埋高層一齊傾嘢咧。你發覺咧，你好快就會知道間公司發生咩問題啦。根本冇咩數據分析啊，大家因為做咗落去做得耐啊嘛，咁就會知啦。Okay, and that would also reduce a lot of time and stress, right? Now, why would they use a system for that? Because if you are the boss, they are actually just the operation people. There's always a kind of ranking gap that people will not feel easy discussing. But when they are on the same system, maybe they are unnamed. Then you will be much more willing to share things out because you are not named. 咁點解喺個系統會好啲咧？譬如佢係老闆嚟㗎嘛，咁你係見住個老闆你都唔敢講粗口啦，即係咁講啦。OK， 但係如果大家都嗨咗個名咁樣喺度講咧，咁你就可以好奔放咁樣咧，將你嘅意見表達啦。咁某程度上咧，可能咧會刺激到啲好嘢出嚟㗎。Alright, and one of the critical critics about collaborative system is there's no human touch. Well, but if there's human touch, there will be human politics, right? So that can be a good thing. Another thing is because if you can hold meetings too easily, that would be a waste of time, and people have to get up very early in the morning because common slot of people is very hard to get, especially as you experience it in the project. Some people say I'm not free that time, and ultimately you have to discuss project at 3-4 a.m. in the morning, right? So this is also happening here in a collaborative system, and security can be a problem as well, right? So those are the things that we can foresee in collaboration system. 喺啲協作系統咧都會有啲問題嘅，就係即係啲人咧好難咧有個共同可以開會嘅時間嘅，搞下就夜晚3-4點，你而家做 project 都感受到啦，係咪？我又呢個唔得閒，嗰個唔得閒啦，大家唔得閒啦，搞下咧就一定瞓覺嗰陣時先得閒嘅。OK， 咁你就有好多無謂嘅會啦，亦都。同埋有保安嘅問題，呢個都係真嘅。而家因為有啲嘢係上網做噶嘛，咁一定有一定程度嘅保安風險啦。Okay. Now, and that collaborative system can run in two ways, synchronized or asynchronized。可以即場咁樣討論啦，亦都係即係非同步。譬如咧，好似我試過啦喺 YouTube 度 整咗段片，跟住咧就 live chat 嚟啦，就 asynchronous 嘅方法。咁呢啲兩個都係可以嘅。And then you can also communicate it and share things together, or you can prioritize tasks together, or you can share the work with different files to one another. So there are 3 groups of things that you can share with, either conversation-wise, task-wise, or document-wise. So that's why there are 3 ways of sharing. 咁呢啲冇乜特別啦，你成日都用噶啦。喺啲咁嘅討論區嘅平台入邊啦嚇，咁你可以傾偈啦，或者共同根據嗰個工作個 task 去到安排呢樣嘢做先做後啦，或者分享嗰啲檔案啦嚇，我哋成日都會做嘅呢啲。Okay. Now, so company is to decide what kind of platform they should choose, so they create some criteria here. 咁公司咧就會擔心究竟用乜嘢平台最好啊，所以咧我哋咧見到有一個咧係關於平台選擇嘅 page 喺呢度㗎嚇，就係呢度啦。咁你首先要 define 究竟你需要啲乜嘢先。You have to know what you want in a company first when you let people discuss over there. And then you think about a less expensive way, right? Most expensive way may not be the right choice. Because maybe you have to think about a way that people will feel comfortable using it. Okay, so it's not the price that you really concern the most. It may be about the people ease of feeling, all right, good using in the system. 可能咧就要睇下啲人咧究竟邊個方便啲用。原來佢好中意喺 WhatsApp 度討論嘢嘅，就唔中意用 Signal 嘅。咁所以價錢未必係第一個考慮嘅喎。And then, if you really build a system like that, you have to think about who can provide that kind of system for you, all right, to collaborate people together in a safe manner. So, getting a vendor to build it is also important, right? And that wraps up for how we choose a collaborative system in case you want to build it. 咁通常啲公司如果佢想做呢樣嘢認真啲做咧，佢真係會自己整一隻 WhatsApp 系統佢自己用嘅，咁啦，因為為咗安全嘅起見啊，佢哋會咁做嘅。Now that basically wraps up everything we have from DSS, EIS, GIS, all the way to CS there, right? So next time we'll start a new topic and there will be AI, all right? So we start here first.